Hi, I'm Bowling Eye.
And I'm Lizzie Sandwich.
And welcome to
the BS on the Internet.
Well, it's been another one of those weeks.
The first week of 2019.
The first freaking week of 2019.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
How did you guys spend your New Year's? Were you with us streaming? We streamed.
Yes.
It was a good night.
Dreaming. With us?
Yes,
Were you dreaming of us?
Yes, there's a lot going on. We watched the ball drop on the live stream. That was a lot of fun.
We did indeed.
I kind of like streaming over New Year's.
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because I really feel like it's gotten overrated, maybe just because we got older. But I also feel...
After a while, it's like another one.
I know. It's kind of like birthdays, maybe?
Yeah.
But I remember kind of being over the whole New Year's thing. By the time I was like 22.
Yeah.
23, I was like, oh, like it's cold. And I've never been like a big like club party type person anyway.
I was still doing the New Year's parties around then. I think it was like by like my mid to late 20s, I was like, I just kind of want to chill.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of got a little old, but like
I did go to a couple parties here and there. I think I went to like a couple between that point and now or whatever, but...
You know what I think did it for me?
What?
Having to work on New Year's.
Oh, that sucks.
Like having to do that several times in the past, I was like, oh, I can't party too hard the night before. I gotta go to work. So I could like have like a couple drinks maybe. Then I'm in bed at midnight, and right after the ball drops, I'm getting up for work. So that kind of did it for me.
You know what my worst New Year's was? I'm gonna tell a story. I'm gonna be real quick. We're gonna be real quick. Is I went out with a group of friends. I was maybe like 25 or 26. And we went out, it was one of the 1 years that we went out drinking. Okay. And we were all very safe. We had somewhere to stay. We were all in the house. It was great. It was just like a party. Everybody went to bed. We woke up and I woke up feeling like, right? Yeah. And one of the moms of our friend group decided she wanted to cook a big New Year's dinner for everybody in this group. And she busted her ass all day. No. And I felt so sick, as did everybody else. And it was delicious. And I remember being like, this is amazing. But all I wanted to do was go to bed. Yeah. You know, and like I woke up like noon that day and we had to be there at like 4. Yeah, it's like,
I just want a couple cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
I know, and I just want a couch. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I was like, you know what? I'm done.
It's not good to follow up a really long night of drinking with a huge meal.
I know. With parents. With parents, you know, and I was just like, oh, it would be one thing if it was just like a group of people.
Yeah, parents.
You know, and then it's kind of, you have to have like your parent head on.
I didn't have many New Year's parties with parents.
Really?
That didn't happen.
Yeah. It was just like, hey, my mom wants to cook for all of us. And we were like, oh,
okay.
All right, let's go, you know.
Well, anyway. We did not party because we are parents ourselves.
Yes. And we also hit 20 weeks of pregnancy this week. I am halfway there. Mm-hmm. And I put a picture up on Instagram, and half the people didn't know. They were like, "Oh, half of them were like, you're pregnant," and the other half were like, "Wow, that was fast." It's like it's not. It's over 2 years. Like, what do you expect? By the time this one's born, toddler otter will be almost 3. So we spaced it like I think pretty well. Yeah. And everything. I know.
It's fine.
But I had a rough week. Been having some cramping, some fatigue. It's kind of kicking my butt this week. I feel like even tonight, I feel like I just want to go to bed. We were going to record a little bit longer, and and you're being nice enough to just let me go to bed after. You play some video games or something. Play some Fortnite. You should, and I'll just go to bed because I'm just so tired.
I'm totally okay. I am really tired too, so I'll chill for a little bit. I'm gonna pass out. It's okay.
But we have stuff to talk about in the meantime.
We do.
Okay, I saw this earlier in the week on New Year's Eve, actually, that PG&E, California's largest utility provider, could face murder charges for the wildfires, yo. And PG&E is the same company. So we don't have them out here. They're the same ones responsible for that whole thing in that movie Erin Brockovich, where they knew, I forget what chromium. Anyway, some kind of chemical was in the water supply, gave a bunch of people cancer and everything. It was this horrible situation. But they think now that they could face murder charges or manslaughter charges because they think they may have had something to do with these fires. They say criminal offenses if any of the wildfires broke out as a result of the utility failing to properly operate and maintain power lines. Can you freaking imagine? Provides electricity to 16 million Californians. If any of you are watching this who are a PG&E customer, I'd be curious to see what you think about this. They've been under scrutiny for how it maintains its infrastructure amid questions about what caused the fire. It says charges range from minor misdemeanors relating to clearing vegetation around power lines to misdemeanors or felonies if it started the fire, up to homicide offenses like implied malice, murder, and involuntary manslaughter. Wow. But they did find out that they said, in the blaze's aftermath, they reported an outage on a transmission line in the area where it began 15 minutes before it started.
Wow.
The company also reported finding power equipment and a downed power pole riddled with bullet holes and a downed line with tree branches on it. So, like, I understand a downed line with tree branches. That happens.
Yeah.
What can you do? But I'm trying to picture in my head, I've only been to California twice. Are these power lines? Is this like big expansive area that this is over? Like, what does this landscape look like? Is it really hard to maintain? Is it like, I'm having trouble visualizing exactly what the problems are here. But they supposedly have gotten in trouble. I mean, there was that story that we were talking about with Aaron Brockovich, and they're currently on probation right now because they were found guilty on several charges from 2010 in a pipeline explosion that 8 people were killed and 50 people injured. So they're kind of like wild anyway.
Caused 17 fires last year, often after branches of trees came in contact with power lines. Dude. So, investigators from 11 cases, the company violated codes regarding brush clearance or related violations and refer the matter to prosecutors.
Yeah.
So, wow, they are, the fact that they've started fires before, they've had explosions, they clearly haven't done their jobs, and then magically around their equipment, we have this fire that just goes, I mean, like, wow, this looks really bad for them.
Like,
what happens though? I mean, like,
that's what I'm wondering.
This utility company can't survive this forever, but they can't go under because they're providing power.
How can that happen? Yeah.
Like, would somebody else replace them?
I don't know.
Maybe somebody would go and like bid to be the new utility company.
Maybe.
You know, I don't know how that works. I don't know how a utility company is established, but there's not really any competition for regions.
There's the one in your area, and then that's it.
But I imagine there's got to be only so much they can do before the state's just like, okay, you're gone, you're done, and then there's probably another power company that like, hey, we'll take over.
In and do
there's
it.
Probably like the next state over
has
a power company like, we'll just expand into your territory, we'll make all sorts of money, and we'll do a good job. Yeah, so that's what happens, because how long can this go on for? Especially if they actually are responsible for this freaking wildfire.
I know.
That's insane.
I can't.
Like, if it could have been prevented just by them clearing brush around the lines.
Right, and especially, maybe they did just need to rake.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a slapper? But I feel like you said, when do they go, okay, like, we don't want to do business, the state doesn't want to do business with you anymore. And then how do you even establish that if they even get to that point? If they've killed people, they've given people cancer, they've started fires, and I don't know, I'm really curious to hear from any of you who live out in California to see how you feel about all of this. Because if this was my power company, I'd be like really scared.
Yeah.
I'd be really scared. Especially, I'd be scared to do business with a company that, or give my money to a company that contaminated the water supply, knowingly contaminated the water supply.
Yeah.
That is horrifying to me. Can you imagine your water?
Yeah.
You know, I can't, I mean, you think about like Flint. And think, like, what do you do? Yeah. What do you do? You know? So, I mean, I guess these people are in the same situation. But yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. And if they are found guilty of starting these wildfires, then what? They're just going to get slapped with another fine?
No.
And
felonies? No.
Probation?
No.
Like, will they close?
No, people will be sent to jail. If there's murder charges,
but the business will remain open.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe someone would buy them out.
Maybe that's right.
Use the standing infrastructure.
But they might. I mean, there could be a sheriff's sale. I mean, there's definitely like situations.
I don't know enough about the business. Yeah.
If it's illegally operated, or if it's a legal issue, I'm pretty sure the state can close them. You know,
that's wild, dude.
Or probably take ownership of them and then sell it off.
I think. Okay.
So I'd have to imagine another utility company would just come in and take over. But I guess we're going to have to see what happens here, because it doesn't get much worse than this.
I know.
When's the last time you heard a utility company be facing murder charges?
I know.
I've never heard of this before in my life.
I know. So we're here complaining about our power company because they were supposed to take down a couple trees in the front of our house, and they're not taking them down.
Yeah.
But we're alive. They're not starting fires.
All right, this is dumb. People are doing a Bird Box challenge thing where they just keep themselves blindfolded for like a long period of time.
And move around their lives.
This is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
And people getting hurt and stuff. So
is this going to be like the new Tide Pod type thing?
Well, they didn't actually do the Tide Pod thing wasn't real though.
Yeah.
These people are actually walking around with blindfolds on.
Like, why would you do this? And Bird Box, we talked about it last week. It was good. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
And although, you know what I saw today real quick? I heard that it is a book. You told me it's a book. I heard the ending of the book is horrific.
Oh, really?
And they were like, read the book. Like, they really cleaned it up for, as it tends to happen, as that tends to, pan out that way in movies where sometimes the movies are a lot more, the book is always better.
Yeah.
But a big thing with the Bird Box challenge, though, is that people are blindfolding their kids.
Yeah.
And themselves.
It's going so far.
And they're walking around.
Dumb. This is just dumb.
It is. Who would have that idea to go, oh my gosh, wait a minute.
Let me just walk around with the blindfold on.
And see.
Because there's a movie out right now.
You know what? There is a moment when you're watching that movie where you think, oh, could I do that? Like, remember where she's kind of, this isn't a spoiler really, but they have to wear blindfolds all the time if they're outside. And she's training the kids to put blindfolds on and tap rocks together to tell if they're outside or if they're inside or if they're near something, like listen to if the sound is muted, if it's echoey or whatever. Sure. So then you start thinking, oh, I could do that. Maybe I could do that. But I was thinking, I cannot do that. No way. I would run smack into a tree.
I wouldn't want to do it though.
No, actually execute it.
If I had to, that's a whole different thing. I don't have to, so I'm not going to.
I know.
I just think this is stupid.
I know. I think a lot of people do that. I mean, I think watching something like this, you go, could I do that? Or you watch a difficult situation and maybe you go, oh, I couldn't do that. I could, or whatever. But to take it an extra step further and actually be like, let's try it and put it on YouTube.
Well, they just want to be on YouTube. They want to get go viral.
I know. Well, it is what it is. Okay, so since the last BS on the Internet, we watched Bandersnatch, the new Black Mirror episode, mini movie. How would you even say what that is?
I think it's an episode.
Episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was cool. It was very cool. I really liked it. It was like a choose your own adventure type thing. You sit there with the remote and whatnot.
It felt Black Mirror-ish. Like the way it was presented and the way it was acted. Felt like Black Mirror.
It was good. Although in the days since it's come out, I know a lot of people weren't too thrilled with it because now there's a delay on the rest of the Black Mirror episodes. So was the delay worth I think
it was cool because this was a very different thing. The Choose Your Own Adventure thing was a cool spin, and it was baked into the actual story of the show.
Right.
I know that it's some people are kind of souring on it a little bit in time, and I can understand it because. I mean, the reason I love the other Black Mirror episodes so much is because of how carefully written they are.
Yeah.
And the really good ones, at least, and just how cool of a story they tell. And this couldn't really have that static story that was meant to be the best version of the story.
Yeah.
It just went a bunch of different directions based on what you picked. But watching it also kind of. You watch it and it was clearly presented in such a way where they expected you to do certain things and go back and redo them and stuff like that. So it guided you in a way that had less choice than it appeared, but it's still more of an episode than a game, right?
Yeah.
It was still a really original way to do it. I felt like it was pretty original because it was halfway between an adventure game and a movie or a series. And I really liked it, but I still think it's worthwhile to say that they delayed the other Black Mirror stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because this is it's not my favorite Black Mirror episode.
Right.
But I still really enjoyed it.
Unique.
It was
cool.
a different kind of thing. So it was cool for them to throw a curveball in there and just try something different. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. However, one of the actors from it, the guy who played Colin, here he is right here, real teeny tiny picture, has quit social media because he's getting bullied online from people saying that he looks like the dude from Toy Story. And the guy from an extremely goofy movie, all this kind of stuff, Jimmy from Scary Godmother. Now, it's, there's a resemblance, isn't there?
I mean, first of all, he kind of does.
He kind of does.
He totally kind of does.
However.
It's kind of funny.
However, it's been really, it's been really bad for him somehow. He's 25.
He's just a different person. I mean, some people just can't deal with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this is life now.
Right.
If you're in the public eye, you get memed. You know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean,
right.
If you like, you've got to like find a way to own it.
You think he just got memed, or
that
it looks like he just got memed?
Yeah, like he looks like this guy. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, like. He basically got memed, but like some people will be mean about memeing, you know,
mean.
And that sucks, right? And there's really no way around it. But like, man, I guess you either take it or you can't.
Yeah.
And different people, like, you know, everyone's gonna be like, he's so sensitive, blah blah. He's just a different person. People handle these things different ways.
That's
not
so
everybody's
true.
gonna handle it the same way. Not everybody's gonna react the same way. And he's having trouble with it, and it sucks. But like, hopefully he can. Oh, it says all he's doing is quitting social media, not acting. So hopefully just like, fine, get off Twitter, you know, get off Facebook, make a private account for you and your family.
Yeah, sure.
And that's it. That's cool. He doesn't have to be on there and do that kind of thing. Not everybody has to be on social media.
Yeah.
If it's doing bad things to you, if it's making you feel bad, don't use it.
Yeah.
You know, as simple as that. So hopefully that kind of gives him some peace. It's just a shame that that's kind of the way it came off, and
I know.
people were actually being mean to him. You know?
I know. He's saying, I'm privileged to have this platform. I hope that this shift to reduce my personal expression and increase the focus on issues that matter will result in a better outcome for everyone. Okay. And then he said he was going to tweet every once in a while, still keep his Twitter active, but every once in a while tweet something about an anti-bullying organization or campaign or something like that.
And if you scroll back down again to the bottom there, he says he did not give specific examples of the criticism that led him to quit, though memes have been surfacing since the show's release that make fun of the actor's looks. So like, he didn't say exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, maybe he's got like a nerve about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Something that happened another time in his life.
Sure.
You know, it could have been bringing something back up. You never know what would cause it, but it sucks. Clearly he's having trouble with it. But if it also seems like he made up his mind quick. He's like, never mind, got to get off here.
Yeah.
So cool. As long as he does whatever he's got to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know? It was quick.
Yeah.
It was about a week, and then he's like, I'm out.
Yeah. Hopefully he just figures it out and he can move forward. So
and it's okay to do that.
Yeah. And he was good. He was good in the episode.
For sure.
So I hope he keeps doing
my
his thing.
gosh. Yeah, definitely. Okay, it's time for the subreddit of the week. And this week is quit your bull. I'm not going to say it. Yes. And this kind of, it gives me, it like tickles my little evil bone, because every once in a while, not every once in a while. Oh, that was a good one. But every once in a while, not every once in a while, a lot of the time, there's people who just bull online all the time and will either make stuff up and you're like, it's like, that happened, okay. And everybody clapped. Everybody stood
around
up,
them burst into applause.
And I really told this lady off.
Red flaggy as it gets.
I know. A lot of times, you know, you're in an awkward situation and then you come home and you think, like I should have.
Everyone does. Everyone does.
Yeah, but then they'll tweet it out or put it out into the universe as if it really happened. And everybody stood up and slow clapped for me because I refused to vaccinate my daughter or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not even exaggerating,
Right, yeah. So this is a subreddit for that kind of stuff, but it's people calling them out on it and usually catching them, and it's pretty darn great because I love like that type moment, right?
Gotcha.
For example, so I went to Top of All Time, as always, IKEA correcting a concerned American citizen on how to properly display the U.S. flag. Hey, Jacksonville, we can't wait to open our doors to you and your family.
Open.
The American flag is supposed to be flown higher than any other country's flag here. IKEA, hi. Our flags are flown according to the U.S. code. Gee, when flags of two or more nations are displayed, they're to be flown from separate staffs of the same height. They should be approximately equal size. International usage forbids the display of the flag one nation above that of another nation in a time of peace. I know. You know, that's the same thing with wearing American flags.
You're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to.
No.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, it's in the Constitution or something like that. I don't know. That you
it's
can't,
not like it's not in the. You can't
or
be
it's
like
considered
arrested.
disrespectful.
Yeah,
you can't be. Yeah, like you shouldn't wear it or whatever.
Yeah.
Although I saw that how did I know this? I just saw this the other day. That the background of people wearing flags started in the Vietnam War as a form of protest against what was going on. But now people use it for patriotism.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Well, thanks. Oh, geez. Redditor claims to be Puerto Rican, gets called out, then forgets to switch accounts before claiming to be different. Multiracial user defending the first post.
God.
Okay, Puerto Rican here, living in the U.S. Thank you, Trump, for sending this hospital ship to us. Much appreciated. Weird. In another post, you said you were Indian. Cambodian Vietnamese guy here. Oh, God. So he used the same account. I don't see why someone can't be both Puerto Rican and Indian. Perhaps Opie's parents. My mom's from Cambodia. I identify as both. You posted with the same account.
I like how they even were to say, like, the phrasing is exactly the same. Puerto Rican here, then Cambodian Vietnamese guy here.
Yeah, right. Didn't even switch up their jargon.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. Oh, geez. Look at this one. Okay. John Carpenter would have been 70 years old today. We celebrate his birthday by looking back at his 5 favorite films. To Rotten Tomatoes, despite how it appears I'm not actually dead. That sucks. I know. Funny. This one, your phone is now hacked. Your phone is now hacked. Do exactly as I say and I'll remove the hack. If you don't, then I'll destroy your phone. If you try to block or report me, I'll still destroy it. And I'll send your agent a live face pic to prove you're real. What kind of phone am I on? What OS? You have 30 seconds to send them before I destroy it. You didn't answer my question. I don't need to. It's been more than 30 seconds. Yup, and it's getting destroyed. You didn't really plan ahead for people taking you up on your bullcrap, did you? Yes, I just destroy it. You think I can't? I'm still waiting on that. Look, I'm gonna go get some lunch. Have fun with hacking my phone. Just copying all your content from it first. Okay, sure. You done? I mean, it can't take that long. I only have 4 pictures on my phone and they're all of pigeons.
That kind of reminds me just a little bit. I mean, I didn't get a chance to call anybody out on it, but I got a voicemail today.
Oh, God.
And it was like this clearly text-to-speech computer voice talking. And it was saying it's like, there has been a security breach and your computer is at risk. You need to call Microsoft Security Department or your Microsoft computer and software will stop working. And,
what?
And like it gave a phone number to call. And I was just like, oh, okay. Microsoft Security Department or my Microsoft computer will stop working. Like it'll just stop working.
Microsoft Security.
I know, like it was so ridiculous.
Oh my God.
I was just before I left work today. I got that. That was funny.
But I really shouldn't enjoy when people get called on their bull crap.
Sure you should. Should
I?
Yeah, totally.
I feel kind of embarrassed for them, so I kind
people
of
be malicious. Yeah,
that's
These
a good point.
Malicious people.
Yeah,
it reminds me of when somebody will go and stand in line for a veterans thing and pretend that they were a soldier. And wear camo and everything like that, wearing fatigues
and they never served.
And somebody walk up to them and be like, "What company?" You know, and they don't have an answer.
Yeah.
That's when people get caught like that. I'm like, yes, everything, dude, freaking terrible.
Right.
I know that stuff. I get a kick out of that.
Yeah, I just gosh, but yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, this is a subreddit for you.
Okay, so let's revisit good old Louis C.K. He's having a little bit of trouble returning to the comedy scene. Things are not quite going. I don't know what his plan is, to be honest. I can't say whether it's going to plan or not because I'm getting a little thrown here. If you guys remember, we talked about this before, I think, and when the initial stuff happened with the accusations that came out, the whole Me Too movement thing, and he came and freely admitted what he was being accused of, right? And I remember him putting out this big statement that was like, I've been talking a lot for a lot of years and now it's time to sit back and listen. This is in 2017, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, okay, wow, this happened a long time ago. He seems really remorseful. He had already reached out.
We're huge Louis fans. That's why our cat is Louis.
Yeah.
Because we love the show Louis, and I think we saw him live once. Big fans. Horace and Pete.
You think we saw him?
Was so we did.
Sure
we
did.
Yes. But Horace and Pete was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And then this. So So continue.
So yeah, he seemed remorseful, and he apparently had reached out to everybody that he had offended prior to even being caught. So it seemed like it was pretty genuine. I was actually kind of optimistic about where he was going to go from there. Yeah. And then he started showing up, doing some comedy shows at the Comedy Cellar. I think he kind of went there and did a set randomly. Yeah. And a lot of people were upset because he didn't come out and make a public statement or do something about awareness for what he had been accused of, everything like that.
He just tried to kind of sneak or slip back in.
I remember having really mixed feelings about the reaction to that. I'm like, what are you going to do? Does he have a way to come back? Is anybody going to let him do this? And I remember feeling really conflicted about it. But then now he there's a leaked stand-up set that he did recently.
Beginning of the month, I think.
beginning of beginning of the month,
December. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and apparently and just listening to the jokes he was making. And all of a sudden, it just seemed like he's like a different comic now.
Yeah.
Like he started, the whole thing was about like gender identities and just basically I'm not really exaggerating. It was all basically wham gender identity and like wham I identify as. And it's like I mean,
I know
it's it's not like this stuff that like. My stance with comedy, all right, just to put it out there, my stance with comedy is basically like I don't really think anything's off limits.
Yeah, me too.
For comedy, I think you can include anything in a joke. It's really about what the joke is, what you're saying with it. Like there's a lot of different ways to do it, to use this kind of material and still make a statement and still make a smart joke. He's done it all the time.
Yeah,
you know?
I think like with the whole nothing is off limits, but for me at least, like don't punch down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, like, in this case, if nothing else, I mean, first off, like, you know, the subject he decided to go after, he also included the Parkland kids, said like you're not special. We shouldn't have to listen to you just because you were in a school where people got shot. And it's like, I mean, there's probably a joke in there somewhere, and he used to find that.
Yeah.
Like he was so good at going through these like edgy topics and being like and finding the joke, and he'd be like, oh, and then you'd be like, oh, that was kind of like really close to the edge there, but man, that was funny, and you really said this thing, and now suddenly that's the punchline.
Yeah.
And like even aside from like the topics themselves, which are pretty dicey to get into if you're not going to be careful about your jokes, that's freaking lazy comedy.
It is.
And he's never been a lazy comedian.
No.
And it's so surprising. It's like your punchline is wham gender identity and wham like kids got shot in the school.
Wham my school got shot.
Yeah, it's like, dude, where's the joke? It's not even in there anymore.
I feel like at
like
least
cranky,
those topics are like.
You got to be careful.
I feel it's like what before we started this, I scrolled down, I read this whole article and read in its entirety what he said. And I'm not even going to scroll down because it is vile. It is vile. And I'm not one to be offended by jokes and things like that. I'm not that type of person. But like you said, it's lazy. I'm like, really what happened to you? But you know what? It's the millennials and the older Gen Xers that he's making fun of that he is blaming for this whole problem. Because at one point in this set, and we didn't know this earlier, I just saw it, he was lamenting that he lost $35 million in a day.
Wow.
After all of this happened, because he got dropped, he lost like brand deals, he lost studio deals, he lost all kinds of stuff. Friends abandoned him. He is mad. And we've watched a lot of Louis type stuff.
Yes.
He's a really sensitive dude.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's going through like the stages of grief. And
but
he's
in front
angry.
Of everybody.
Yes, in front of everybody, and he's testing it.
Yeah.
You know, so he's got to be angry.
Yeah.
He had this amazing career. He was winning Emmys. He was like, he was hitting like the peak of his career.
Yeah.
And then this got dug back up. And I feel like he's looking for a way to blame these people. But also what bothers me a lot about listening to the set that he did is the people laughing at it.
Well, there's a lot of people that'll find
crowd.
it funny. It's a different crowd. You know, but there's a lot of people find this stuff funny because there's a lot of people that just really want to run around saying like, why gender identity? And like they're doing it on Twitter. And like the thing is that they think they're making jokes and it's like you're not even being funny. But then suddenly he joined that. And that's the disappointing part. He's a smart comic.
Yeah.
And it's like...
He's brilliant.
Yeah, but
what is this old, tired... like, we're still doing this? We're still joking about...
Never doing this. And I still, the topics...
Just in general,
the topics in general, I want to reiterate here. I personally don't have that much of a problem that he went to the topics. I don't.
Oh,
I
right.
think that
it's what's happening.
It's what's happening. And I think comedy is actually very important when you have sensitive situations and situations that are offending people because they can find a way to make light of it and make everybody laugh and still, like, be respectful to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
Because you can still talk about how people are reacting. You can still present things that are kind of shocking and still have a point and still have a good joke behind it.
Yep.
And it can get a lot of pressure off people's chests. And it can have people actually thinking about some of these things in a different angle and being like, all right, okay, at least I can laugh about it. We don't have to be so stuck up about this stuff and have some conversations now. It enables talking a lot of time, enables conversations. Not like this, not like just complaining And without, I mean, I don't know. It just seems.
It sounded like complaining.
Yeah, it is complaining.
Yeah, he went and complained.
And there are comics that do this kind of thing all the time. They're known as bad comics.
Yeah,
you know, and he is not a bad comic. So I'm just not sure. He's just got to be mad right now. And I just don't know where this is going to go. Because he's digging a hole deeper. And I'm disappointed because it's like, I don't know. We've always been really big fans.
Yeah.
So it seems like even if you bypass all the like offensive stuff, right? Everything that's offensive about it, whether or not you believe it is or not, even if you don't even think about those subjects, it's bad, lazy comedy.
It is,
and that's a bummer.
Yeah.
From a guy like Louis C.K.
I'm mostly like confused.
Yeah, it is very confusing.
I'm really, really confused.
I was really surprised. This one surprised me.
I'm like, what happened? Yeah. Like, what's going on? Yeah. You know, because I feel like he's not this person, but he's been through a lot in a year.
He has. I think
so it certainly could have changed him, and he's, you know, really angry at PC culture and all that kind of stuff. There was an article I read a couple of weeks ago where they polled a bunch of people, a lot of people actually, and asked if they thought society was too PC nowadays. And the divide between age was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Where the younger you were, the more...
That's always true.
Oh, of course. The younger you were, the more... I think they said people need to be more aware. It's not going far enough. The older you were, people were saying, like, it's gone way, way, way too far.
And there's a middle ground somewhere where it was like, oh, things are cool right now.
Sure, it was different between men and women. It was different between,
but there's a near
gay
1-to-1 ratio
and,
with age, depending on the
and it was really interesting. And so this is a situation that's never gonna.
This is always the case, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people
I feel
get
like it's
old
nuts
and get cranky,
now, though,
and they always think like things are better than when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like every generation goes through this.
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
that's true. Yeah.
You know, but it's just I don't know. I always saw him as going more of like a Carlin direction before.
Yeah.
You know, like the way he was going, it's like, oh, this is going to be more about social commentary, and like he's going to really be picking apart these social situations and explaining them because he was getting there.
You know who's going there?
Now he's just complaining.
I know.
You know.
You know who's going there? Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, he is.
Oh God,
Dave
have
Chappelle,
you guys seen Dave Chappelle?
You guys saw his last stand-up.
Big comedy
really
fans.
Good stuff.
Big comedy fans. Also, Nanette, I think
that was crazy.
Brilliant and beautiful.
That was almost not stand-up.
No. I feel like that was really, really important. Watch Nanette if you haven't.
That was very interesting.
But still, I don't know. I'm confused by all of this, and it doesn't feel good because I feel like he's not himself.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if we're getting him back.
I know, but I feel like I'm seeing what's coming out of his mouth, and I'm hearing it. And I'm like, oh my God, like what happened?
Yeah.
You know, it's not the shock of what he's saying. I mean, it is in some ways, but it's more like who it is. Like what is wrong with you? Like I want to shake him. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know where this goes.
Yeah. Where do you guys think this goes? And what do you think of this whole thing? Are you done with him? I think I hate to say that I might be done.
I
don't know. I'm observing what he's doing.
Yeah, I never
from
feel
a
like
distance.
It's like it doesn't make sense to make like Charles blanket statement like you are dead to me. It's like, you know,
well,
I'm like I never had a relationship with him.
Yeah.
It's like I liked his material before. Yeah. I don't like what he's doing right now. Maybe I'll like what he does later.
I'll kind of do like the Kim Kardashian gif, like a peek, like over a bush. Go like, what is he doing now?
Yeah.
What happened? Which, speaking of cutting people out completely, that brings us to our next topic and our last topic, which is kind of heavy. So, you know, be warned. Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw this going around. There's a documentary on Lifetime, of all places, called Surviving R. Kelly. It's 6 episodes. And it's in its second night. Yeah. It's in its second night tonight. I think we're DVRing it. We caught one of them last night after the live stream. Yeah. And if you're not familiar with R. Kelly, he's an R&B singer that came up in the 90s, in the early 90s. He was composer, humongous. Huge. Did I Believe I Could Fly, Ignition.
Bump and Grind.
Bump and Grind. And he has an affinity for underage girls, a big affinity for underage girls. And everybody kind of knew it. He married Aaliyah at one point, the singer who died in a car crash. Gosh, it's been a while since she died in that car crash.
He was 12 years old.
Plane crash, yeah. And we know this, we watched last night. They got married, she was 15 and he was 27.
Yeah.
And he has a thing for young girls.
He was meeting girls when they were 12 and 13, courting girls. I mean, like...
And he was like in his, brushing 30. and he was going after. And the scary thing about it is that what this whole documentary is about is how he has built this network because he has so much money, of ways to control these underage girls, it was just like within the last couple years, this big story came out where there were some parents that were trying to get their daughters back who they feel like were being held hostage in his mansion. Yes, of underage girls. Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
Like, this isn't even like...
Right.
I mean, what we were watching in the documentary thus far, we have a lot more to watch, which scares me because just what we've heard. We
watched an hour and it was horrible.
We watched an hour and I'm like, there's 6 episodes of this.
Yeah.
But he's been doing this for a long time, since the 90s, and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But like,
he's 51 right now. They said he's 51,
and it's largely about just how he's like. I mean, it's such a crazy, careful pattern of abuse and like luring people in with promises that they're gonna be stars and like he's gonna make them famous because he's R. Kelly, right? Yeah. And like, oh man, it's
I don't. It's rough. The whole thing is just incredibly yucky.
Yeah.
And you know what's really interesting? So they make this documentary. This woman makes this documentary. She's a well-known filmmaker, reporter, and they're about to premiere this documentary and like a big like movie premiere type thing, and they get a call that there's a bomb or a gun threat rather in the theater.
They're
going to shoot up the theater if you show it. So a lot of these survivors, these women who were victims of his, are all like, oh, it's him. Like, he's doing this. He doesn't want people seeing it. Of course it's him. Like, they were all like, duh.
Like, it totally fits.
Of course, like this is all like completely controlled. But what was really disappointing me about it is that I found out today, because today it was all over Twitter, because night one was on last night. And it turns out that they asked a ton of other musicians to comment and come talk for this documentary. They asked Lady Gaga. They asked Dave Chappelle. They asked Jay-Z, and they all said no, they don't want to get involved. Questlove. The only person who was able to talk who agreed to talk was John Legend. He was like, yeah, he's a pedophile. I don't care. You know, like, everybody knows it. Nobody's saying anything. Everybody is just kind of keeping their distance. And he's been questioned about it, R. Kelly, a bunch of times. And he kind of has this attitude like, yeah, they're pretty much legal. I'm just freaky. You don't get it. I just, it's like it's a kink.
Kink shaming.
Like it's a kink. Yeah, like kink shaming.
No, you're destroying lives.
Yeah.
That's not kink shaming.
Yeah, and from what little we saw yesterday, we saw about 45 minutes of one. Like, these women, like, they're all singing the same song.
They are, and they're devastated.
And it really, really is. If you do decide to watch it, it's very, very heavy. There's all kinds of, it's to their credit, the commercials are all like, here's, therapists and all kinds of, sexual abuse survival groups and things like that. But I saw today also that he's involved in litigation. He's trying to get this taken down. He's
too late.
Freaking out
right now.
He's
based on YouTube right now.
It is. But why was nobody willing to speak up? That's what bothers me.
I'm
especially
hoping that
colleagues
we have a lot more
of his.
to watch, right? So I'm hoping we're going to learn something about that, because it seems like the tendrils in this go pretty deep. And he has a lot of people locked down. I feel like a lot of people locked down.
He had somebody, one of the people under him, forge papers, so he could marry Aaliyah and say she was legal.
She was 18 when she was 15.
Yeah, exactly. So if he could do that in the early mid 90s, and what can he do now?
Yeah, it's crazy, because when I was thinking about this earlier, it's kind of reminding me a little bit of the Harvey Weinstein thing, because it's just somebody with this incredible amount of power over the people he's with,
right,
and just completely abusing it to a crazy extent. Though this isn't really a Me Too moment thing. Like, it doesn't really seem to fit neatly into the whole
because they all found each other.
Yeah,
they just all kind of
it's not like there's people in the industry now speaking up. I mean, it is, but this is more just about a person and this crazy pattern of abuse with these people. I mean, I guess I don't know. It feels different to me than like the Me Too movement thing, right?
It kind of does. Yeah, this is almost like a hostage type thing.
Feels more like that.
At one point, they explained he was married to a woman who was of age, and he had all these underage girls coming in and out. And she had to ask him if she could come downstairs to get something to eat. Like he had these women like trained, on, can I eat now? And like, it started like real small with like, this is what you're going to wear. This is what, you're going to do. And then it turned into asking permission to eat.
Didn't he have him calling him something too? Like they were like,
Daddy.
Yeah, he called him Daddy.
That is the creepiest.
The whole thing is so creepy.
That is so spooky. But he has a career, man.
He still has one. He put out another song recently, didn't he?
Yeah, he put on a song last year. This is like...
I mean, it's not quite as severe, but I mean, it's still really terrible. We just saw that Chris Brown has a new one.
Yeah.
Trending. It's like, come on, man.
Right. Here we go. The 3rd and 4th episodes. So those are the ones that are on tonight. We're DVRing those right now.
Child pornography trial?
Oh, right. He was brought on and then acquitted. That's right. He was put on trial. I remember that. The 5th and 6th episodes examine more recent allegations and follow parents who were trying to free their daughters from his influence. That's what happened a couple years ago.
Wow. So right now we're learning about how it started, and now they're going to get all the way up to freaking present day, still doing crap. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This is nuts. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
So then what is the difference? I mean, there is a big difference. I was going to say between giving like somebody like Louis C.K. a second chance and letting him. Yeah, that is a pretty big difference.
I mean, there's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel like I maybe I'm wrong about this. My gut feeling when we talk about Louis C.K., like we were just talking about it, my gut feeling is that he actually was remorseful about what he had done
at the time. Yeah.
Based on the fact that it had been a long time since it had happened.
Yeah.
And he had, prior to ever being caught or called out, reached out to the people that he offended and apologized to them, which they confirmed that he did. And he wanted to clear the air, apologize, say he was wrong, and then he moved on with his life. Mm-hmm. So I felt like he grew as a person and moved on. Now things are going a little nuts with him. The whole world came down on him and he's lashing out really hard. You know? That's where I feel like he is. R. Kelly isn't remorseful in the least. He's going around saying everything's been fine the whole time. Like, why does everybody think he's doing something wrong?
Yeah.
He legit thinks he hasn't done anything wrong.
I know.
I mean, this is like, and he's been doing it for decades.
And he like boasts about it.
Yeah.
Like I found out he calls himself the Pied Piper of R&B.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, Pied Piper with children.
And
Pied Piper
all the lyrics
calls
to all
children.
his songs are about like underage girls.
Yeah.
So listening to them now and going back, it's like, oh my God.
I know.
Like,
I heard, or last night they said he wrote, because then he wrote songs for other people. Lady Gaga did a song with him in the last 3 years. And we were like, what? But he wrote that Michael Jackson song, You Were Not Alone. Do you know that song? And it's about his underage girlfriend having a miscarriage. So now, like, there's clues in all of his. It's like he lives and breathes this.
Yeah.
And is hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
And boasting about it and singing about it. And I'll go on trial. Okay. And then
he was doing like public TV interviews with Aaliyah when she was still underage.
Yeah.
And they were married.
Yeah.
And they were asking her like, how old are you? And she's like, it's a secret. Like, they weren't even like, they were just right out in plain sight. And now everyone was kind of like, I mean, but it also sounds like even everybody in the industry knew this has been happening the whole time.
Yeah.
And just nobody was saying anything about it. And there's still, even though this is out there, they're still not saying anything about it.
Yeah.
So he's got some like crazy level of control here over a lot of people. That's what reminds me of the Weinstein thing.
Yeah.
That's where I start to feel like, wow, this guy just has everyone under his thumb.
Yeah. And everybody knows it, and nobody can do anything.
And he can't do anything about it. And that's where it really feels like a parallel. It's crazy. I'm wondering where we go, because right now, today we're recording this. It's January 4th, same day that this article we have went up. The show was just airing the night before we're recording this, so you guys are watching it a few days later. Maybe more stuff will have come out by then. Maybe more stuff will have happened. But from what we're seeing now, we kind of feel like we're holding our breath. Like, we're just gonna go. And I don't know. If nothing else, I just hope that it's some way this is able to completely stop. Like, they got to get the girls out of there that are there.
I know.
And this guy's got to go to jail, I think. But even if he does it for some freaking reason, as long as he's not able to do this anymore. It sounds like a Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why he's got them saying that they're voluntarily staying there.
Yeah,
right?
they did. That's what they said. They said they want to be there.
Yeah. That sounds like Stockholm to me.
I know. Are you guys watching this? Like, what do you think about this? I don't know. I felt
it's creepy.
So yucky. What makes you think people stick around?
Yeah.
What makes people stay? And it's the same thing with Chris Brown and Louis C.K. to a certain point. I guess that's what, I mean, I'm at a point with going back to Louis C.K. where I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of like, all right, I'll watch, see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to give you our money or like patronize you yet. But I'm just for our past, I'll keep an eye out on what you're doing in the news.
I was curious at this point with him.
Yeah.
Like, what's he going to do?
This is kind of like, I think a couple R. Kelly songs on personal playlists. I took them all off. And I was like, I don't even want this guy.
It's not hard for me because I was never an R. Kelly.
I know. Oh, me neither. I put on like Bump and Grind, you know, on like
I was
like
never like that
funny
era
playlist.
of R&B wasn't my
Oh my
thing,
God, no,
you know?
no, me
So,
neither.
like,
Yeah, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna put out the playlist, you
like,
know.
all I can think of is like the music video for I Believe I Can Fly with the conducting.
Oh God, oh it's
and
so
like,
bad.
it's just
Conducting conducting individual notes.
Yeah,
I know,
it was
like
really goofy and really cheesy.
So bad, I know.
And like, and the guy just always seemed to be. He always had this air of like, this guy thinks that when he takes a crap, it doesn't smell.
Oh, exactly.
And he is, and all we're doing is like getting that pounded in our face now.
Yeah,
That's exactly who he is. And it always rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, this guy like has to get over himself a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was a lot worse than I thought at the time, clearly.
I know. And especially with Aaliyah, they made it seem in the documentary, it's the first time I was hearing this, that was not a consensual relationship.
Kind of did.
And that's kind of like, oh man, like that sucks.
They alluded to it. They didn't come out and say that, but there's a few things that people that knew her and was very close with her when things were going on. Kind of alluded to it, but was like so scarred over the whole thing she couldn't even bring herself to say it out loud, and actually said that. Like, I can't even say it.
Yeah.
So it's tough to watch.
It is.
So
it's very tough. Yeah.
If you're thinking about watching it, just go in knowing that, you know, and if it's a kind of material that you're a little sensitive about, I would not recommend it.
Yeah. There's also a lot to learn about, you know, cycle of abuse, and
abusers,
and recognizing it. Yeah, and like you know.
Yeah, like
hopefully you never experience it in your life, but it does provide, they do have a psychologist, a psychotherapist there describing some of these cycles of abuse and things like that. So that's helpful to know, I think.
It is very helpful though, because I always see whenever there's stories of abusers and abused, I always see a lot of people come out like, well, they should have just left. Why did they stay?
Well,
like there was a guy, an MMA fighter, a woman that was beat up really bad by her husband, and it happened a lot of times, and she kept going back. And I was, the people in this comment thread were
I remember
like,
this,
why, why'd you stay with him? You knew he was this Nazi, you said he used to be a Nazi, and then why are you staying with him? And it's like the people, like, they make you think they're being reformed and they're making this progress, and then you want to support them because you love them, and then they relapse, and then they know where to push your buttons, and they know you really well. And then they threaten your family, and they threaten your friends. Like, they trap you, right? It's just, it's not simple.
You got it.
So think twice before you ever think of going and, victim blaming for I mean, like that phrase is thrown around a lot right now, but it's important, right? There's people that are victims of this kind of abuse. You really can't always empathize with their situation, you know?
Of course, yeah.
So just think about that, and this kind of situation is a good way to learn about some of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, well, that was this episode of BS on the Internet.
It was a heavy one for the first one of the year.
First one of the year, we're kicking off.
Hopefully it'll be a little bit lighter from here on out. The government's still closed.
Yeah.
So it can only go up from here, right? Right?
Don't even say that.
Right?
Don't even tempt fate here. I don't know what's going to happen. If you guys want to know anything more about what we talked about on the episode, links are in the description.
Yes.
If you like this video, please support us on Patreon. Click like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, bye.
Bye.